It's been a month, and meanwhile, the fall has arrived. I've never been so excited about wearing a sweater. I really need to buy some waterproof shoes because it's raining like every other day. Anyway, the waiting period has been kind of frustrating. When I was in the forest, I talked about reviewing some forms and signing them. So I sent those documents, and finally on August 28th, my I-140 was filed. So it's been exactly 15 business days, and so far I haven't heard anything back about my visa process. While I'm waiting, I've tried to focus on something else. I still have 2 weeks of online core modules left to complete. I'll finish them before I have my surgery scheduled, and there will be a transition period between the core modules and the specialty modules, so I don't think during my recovery period I have to worry about having to complete assignments, worry about deadlines. And I'm really glad that my surgery was finally scheduled, but at the same time I'm surprisingly nervous about it. I've never had general anesthesia or any procedures for that matter. There is a saying that knowledge only adds to pain. Maybe I do know too much about these things being a nurse. I thought that being a nurse I would be super relaxed about it, but I think that because I work at a unit where we get patients from the PACU all the time, but those patients come to us only because they have had some post-anesthesia complications. So the side that I see is that these patients have all these problems after anesthesia, and instead the truth is that most people come out just fine. My surgery is supposed to last for an hour, and I'm supposed to go home the same day, although I need to have a family member or a friend to look after me for the first 24 hours after anesthesia to make sure that I'm fine and I don't die. Also, because waiting is so boring, I've tried to focus on work. And at work, after completing the NCLEX, after having studied so much for the NCLEX and completing the NCLEX, I learned so much stuff that is new and stuff that I only needed to be reminded of. I've been applying all this knowledge and these skills to my practice, and I see I have a lot more depth to my practice, and I kind of feel more satisfied with my work. At work, I try to be conscious about things that I've learned to benefit in this moment, but also try to use these moments also as an kind of escape to the future. I try to imagine the future as something better than the reality that is right now. Where I currently work, I see so many things that I'd like to help develop, but the system isn't really allowing that. And I know from my more experienced nursing colleagues, they've kind of given up on trying to change anything for the better. And we also think that these ideas would eventually help save money. Instead of allowing us to develop and change anything, we only get dictated certain kind of policies and regulations and whatever that only increase our dissatisfaction. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why so many people resigned earlier this year. Even though I have this positive experience about benefiting from the NCLEX review, at the same time, especially during the last month or two, I noticed I've been feeling really lonely. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I figured that it has something to do with the fact that I'll be leaving to the US. With the visa process, everything kind of moved forward a bit psychologically, so that the idea of moving to the US is feeling more and more real. I don't think I've actually even realized it, but I'm kind of detaching myself from other people because maybe over time it feels easier to slowly pull yourself away from others instead of just saying goodbye and leaving and then having to deal with all those feelings when at the same time you have your dream coming true, you have so much to be happy about, you have a new job and you want to succeed at that job, not dwell in those negative feelings. Moving to another country is really a chance to start from the scratch. Also, I think the fact that not many people understand what I'm going through and what I'm about to go through, that's one factor that separates me from others. In this moment, I'm almost desperately looking for anyone currently in the same process or who's already gone through the process. I'm looking for someone to really relate to. For example, I have Mohammed from the Alpha Slice channel. I think he moved to the US 6 months ago with his family. His channel is full of videos related to his experience, and that's really helpful and comforting. We also message on WhatsApp, so I can always really turn to him if I have any issues I want to talk about, and he's a really nice guy. I think through Muhammad I realized that the people who want to leave their country, pursue a dream, and those who actually achieve that dream in the end, those people are a special kind of people. They have a mindset that not too many people share. And what I've learned through Muhammad especially is the kind of positivity that we all hold inside of us. Instead of complaining about the situation, we fight, we sacrifice a lot, we push through. The NCLEX experience itself, it was kind of terrifying. But for example, I completed the NCLEX in 75 questions and in about an hour or so. It's like we're meant to climb those mountains and we're meant to reach the peak, put our flag on top of the peak and claim what's ours. And while I'm still in Finland, I have to tolerate all these negative things and still try to energize myself to be more positive than what the atmosphere is giving me. There's not really a single moment that I can just fall back and relax. This is my dream and I'm going to achieve it. If it means that I'll be lonely for a while, then so be it. In many ways, I find it hard to fit in here in this culture. One major aspect of Finnish culture is alcohol. At almost every social gathering there's alcohol present. I'm sure it's the same in many countries. The problem in Finland is the excessive amounts of alcohol that people consume, and no one thinks about it twice. Also, a blogger friend that I have, he travels a lot to different countries. He made a really good point about the so-called alcohol culture. He noticed that people from different cultures share different kind of pictures on, for example, Instagram. Some culture, they would picture friends and family. Maybe there is alcohol involved, but it's not at the center of the picture. Whereas Finnish people would maybe even picture a glass of wine or a bottle of beer by itself. And that's just really sad. So I actually don't drink any alcohol at all, ever. The fact that it's involved in most social gatherings is a reason why I want to avoid social gatherings. It's not fun for me as a sober person to be there when others are wasted. It's the excessive amounts of alcohol that really takes out the fun from those events for me. About a year ago, I traveled to the Emirates and I rented a car so that I could drive from Ras Al Khaimah to the Chais mountain. I wanted to see the sunset, and it just so happened to be a Friday night when family and friends gather to have fun. People were having so much fun and I didn't see any alcohol involved. They had food on the grill. They were eating, laughing. There was some music playing. Some young people were playing it ridiculously loud, but that's fine. And it was actually nice to see that some people would take a break from having fun in order to do ablution and pray the sunset prayer. It felt really pure and really calm. And it's so easy to pick out these people from the crowd because they have this light on their face. They're smiling. They're so kind. It's like they have this radiating peace coming from them, and it makes you feel calm as well. But anyway, at that point I realized that I've been living in this Finnish culture for all my life, and I've been anxious about having to conform to these cultural standards or being an outcast. And as a non-conformist, I of course chose to be an outcast. And it doesn't feel good to be an outcast, to be lonely. But at that moment, up on the mountain, I realized there really are other ways of life. There are other ways of having fun, and genuine fun at that. At the same time, I felt kind of sad because what I saw at that mountain was something that I've wanted my entire life. Something that would have made me feel a lot more comfortable. So I have one more week of work. On Tuesday I'll go back to work and I'll have a morning shift, after which I'll have 2 or 3 night shift. And surprise, I'm on a annual leave again for 2 weeks. After my 2 weeks of annual leave, I have to go back to work on Monday, and on Tuesday I'll have my surgery. I have a friend who will stay with me overnight. I'll have sick leave for about 2 weeks. During the first week, the doctor has prohibited me from carrying a carton of milk, which is like 1 kilogram. Like my grandpa always used to say, I'll see you next time unless we go blind.